I'm Kory Getman.
And Spencer Wight.
And this is episode 8, 2 months. Episode 8 of Let Go Radio. That's 2 months we've been doing this.
2 months already.
That's incredible.
Oh, man. I can't wait for 6 months and a year and 5 years, and we're just going to keep going with this thing till we're dead.
Oh, basically. So, basically, we're going to make it to 2.5 months, and then we'll both be dead, I assume.
Yeah. Living life on the edge.
Yeah, I'm doing like a hang loose sign here.
Yeah, the shaka symbol for all you surfers out there.
Well, anyway, today I wanted to talk about, just because of what I see around me, I want to talk about how people are constantly trying to be something else. They're trying, they want to be a different place than where they are. They want to be happy. They want to be confident. They want to be successful. And to say that you want to be something is to deny that you already have it. To say that you want a different life, a different quality of life, a different quality of yourself, is to say, I am currently lacking that. And is also to say, I would be a better person if I had that, which is not necessarily the case at all. Like, let's take the example of confidence that we were just talking about. To say, I want to be confident, is to outright deny that any part of you is confident. To say that I want to be confident is to make you think that you should look for people that already show this trait and imitate them. So, you're not going to be a confident person. You're going to be a person walking around holding their shoulders up and back and, their neck straight and talking with a deep voice. And, I don't know how people think a confident person sounds, but it's not going to be... That's not confidence. Confidence, you just have to be it. It's just being relaxed. It's giving up the entire idea and notion of confidence. And any of this kind of stuff, it's breaking out of that world of opposites. The world of opposites implies that if you don't have something, you have the opposite. Like, to give an example here, I will look at something and say, it'd be really cool to have that, but I'm not upset if I don't have it. Does that make sense? Like, I don't put my dependency for happiness on that thing, but I would greatly enjoy having it. So to break out of that world is to say, is to not deny anything, but to... What am I going for here?
I don't know. I know what you're trying to say. I don't have the words for it either.
Okay, to say I want to be happy.
Right.
Is to say... In other words, I will be happy when blank. Like, you want to be happy? What is keeping you from happiness right now?
Gotcha.
What is not allowing that currently if you want to be happy?
So if you're saying, I'm not confident, but I would be confident if I had a nicer car.
Sure. Or, I would know I was confident if more girls came up and talked to me.
There you go,
like,
okay.
How do you measure that? To say, I want to be happy is, in effect, to say, I am currently unhappy. And you'll never get anywhere wanting to be it. You'll never get to it. So, but here's the paradox. Recognizing that you want it is the first step towards it. Because to say that you want it is to know that there's a need for it. And you'll never be aware of it or drop that need if you don't first recognize that you want it.
And why.
And exactly, the why is a very important thing to look at. You think, oh God, I want to be happy. Well, it's from right there. It's from right there. You have to notice it. And it's not through self-analysis, a thing later that you'll notice. It's from right now. Why do I think I'm not happy? Why do I think there's something keeping me from happiness? What is going on in my life that I think I won't be happy if I don't have? What am I currently in lack of?
And oh my gosh, I love this subject. Like, I love this subject.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I went through a lot of points in my life, which I'm sure, most of us do, for sure. And it's saying, I want this, or why am I not here yet? Or if I was that great person everyone says I am, then I should be this. And all these outlying opinions and ideas and stories that I was accepting as my own. And then one powerful day, I don't remember where I got it from, and that's what I love about self-development. It's not one specific book or audio or person that you're around that changes your life. It's all of them. And at some point, I woke up And I just had this idea. Wait a second. If I'm not feeling confident, this is not a real thing I had an issue with, but if it were, I'm using it as an example. If I'm not feeling confident, why am I not feeling confident? And once I stated the reasons why, they were honestly just stupid things.
Right, it didn't seem to matter anymore.
Right, all of a sudden you're like, wait a second. I'm not confident because I don't... well, give some examples. Do you have any examples?
Like, why am I not feeling confident? Well, I don't push myself to do things that I want to do. I don't speak out in class. I don't go out and talk to girls or whatever. That's,
right.
Again, not a real example. I don't create my own material and put it online. I don't play guitar in front of people. I'm just not that confident guy. And to say I want to be is to say I'm not that confident person. It is to attach to an ideal. It's to identify as something. To say I want happiness is to identify with your unhappiness.
Which we have talked about this in a previous episode now. I do remember.
Yeah?
Because, we talked about questioning the question.
Right.
And it was kind of leading you down like, why am I not confident? And then you come up with things like, well, because I'm not playing guitar in front of people, so it means I'm not confident. Or this, or, girls don't come up to me. And then you have to ask more questions to unbury. It's like the treasure's down there. You just have to unbury it. So then you dig a little deeper. Next shovelful. Mm-hmm. Why am I not playing guitar in front of people? Why are more girls not coming up to me? And you can't answer the question.
Let's just stick with one example. Why am I not playing guitar in front of people? That might lead to an answer like, oh, I'm afraid of what they'll think of me. Now you're onto something.
And
now,
dig deeper.
Like, wait, why do I care what people think of me?
There you go.
And that might be the last question you have to ask. You'll be like, oh, well, that was ridiculous.
Right.
Or that could lead to another answer. My approval depends on their thoughts. Why does my approval depend on what these people think about my skill at guitar? Like, that is not my value as a human being. That might be the last question you have to ask. That there might be another. Or it might not even change there. But I guess the point that I want to make here is that change doesn't happen through effort.
No.
It's just gonna happen one day after you stop wanting, after you come to realize that was a silly thing to even want. You're gonna find yourself in front of people and having no problem and, going out to people and let's say your thing is happiness. I want happiness, which is personal to me because I had a point where I was clinging to it. Right. But when it comes back is when you forget about it, when you forget you wanted it, when you forget that you didn't have it, and you just find yourself back in the world when you're at your happiest. Think of any kind of fun time you had, and you'll realize you didn't think I am so happy right now, or I am fun. Those thoughts don't come until after the peak of that fun. And in the decline, they either come with the anxiety that it's going to go away, or with the desire to cling to it. But getting back to it doesn't come through even thinking about the happiness. So what I want to emphasize here, and this would be the main point, see reality, see where you are right now, and let the feeling take care of itself. When you think that you want a feeling, or that you want to escape a feeling, escaping a feeling is a good topic, by the way. Trying to run away from your feelings, from what happened, is, well, never the answer. If you want a full, complete experience of life, if you don't want to be deadened to yourself, fully feel what you're going through. Look at it. Experience it. Be there with the reality of what is going on inside you, of what's around you, and you'll come to awareness. Let the feeling take care of itself. It'll be there, but to want to change it is to keep it around.
Right.
To want sadness to go away is to reinforce the sadness. Just like to want happiness is to deny happiness, to want sadness to leave is to keep the sadness around.
And I want to talk about self-development here.
Okay.
It's a term that's being used a lot lately, I think, in different areas of life. And it comes on in a lot of different forms. Like we said, books, audios, the people you're around. And these things matter so much because we're meant to be mentored in life by things. You can look at a plant and learn from the plant, but we're always learning from something.
That literally anything can be your teacher.
Anything can be your teacher, and it really is depending on what you're going for. Who do you want to be? Don't ask somebody who does not have what you want. If you're going to go ask a non-confident person about being confident, they can only give you answers to either disprove that you can become confident because they've quit on that idea, or...
I want to throw something in here.
Go ahead.
Just in case it's not clear, after you've broken out of this world of opposites, you can still say things like, I want that. I want to be this. I want to be a businessman. I want to be... I want to run a successful business. I want to be an actor. Whatever. But your happiness doesn't depend on it.
Definitely.
And you can still work towards something like that. I just want this to be clear. You can still work towards something like that without denying your current state of happiness. Like, you can totally say, what's another career option? I want to be a professional guitarist. I want to play in a band. And then you could ask a question. If you can ask your question to yourself, why do I want to do that? And the answer isn't for other people's approval, but the answer is, because I have a hell of a time playing guitar. Like, cool. Then go play guitar. If I want to be a business owner, why? Because I want money. Why? Because I think that it will make me happy. Well, then you should probably do a little more self-development. Why do I want money? Because I actually can't think of a good answer.
Well, and here's what I see self-development offers. That mentorship idea, that idea. All really mentorship is wisdom from making mistakes and going through a lot of the bad times to get to the good, being shared with someone who hasn't even started the journey yet, or maybe just begun, or is halfway. And here's my question. You have two routes. You're a hiker at the moment, and you're looking right, and it looks a little windy. Now you're looking left. It looks kind of like a better path, but you're not sure which one to choose. Somebody comes walking down the better looking path, the one you were about to go for, and says, hey, listen, I know that it looks fantastic. Don't go there. And he's all tattered up, and he's bruised, and he said he already went down the right path, and he said it paid off, and he wanted to go see how much better the other one was. And then he comes back and says, look, I know it looks stormy down that direction, but go. There's a beach at the end with tropical fruit, and you're going to love life.
This
once
is a
you get past the storms.
wonderful visualization, by the way.
Well, and how powerful is that? Because otherwise, if you didn't have that wisdom, that mentorship, as long as you trust this guy, it looks like he's been through some stuff, right? He's got the tatters, and he's telling you what not to do, what to avoid, and how to avoid injury and save yourself so much time. When you read a book, and let's say that book was written after someone has been helping people change their life after 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You got guys like Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, Grant Cardone, a lot of these powerful people who have been doing things so long, and they're writing books for us. Yes, it makes them some money, sure, but they're writing the book for us, and guess what? Do you have to live 30 years now to absorb that knowledge, or can you read it in a week?
I want to point out something that you mentioned was wisdom. I want to point out that experience isn't necessarily wisdom. Don't just blindly listen to someone because they've done it, but definitely use what they have to your advantage as you see fit. To expand on that a little bit, I would define wisdom as the ability to deal with anything as it arises, with each individual situation completely independent of other situations. Wisdom based on experience is solving today's problems with yesterday's solutions. So that's why I don't define just experience as wisdom, because it doesn't necessarily correlate.
Right.
Like, we're in a changing world, technologies and everything. Like, what worked 30 years ago might not necessarily work for today, but that good guy could very well have excellent advice for you.
Yeah, it depends on what area you're in, for sure, because there's things like human communication. That hasn't changed. That'll never change. How we talk to people. If you come up with an aggressive voice, it's really obvious.
Right.
So
that's separating from like slang terms and such, but
right, yeah,
body language and tonality.
Right. So communication, and like if you're gonna talk about sales, which all of us are in sales, whether you're working for another company or not, you're either a part of the sales process, or you're the actual sales process, or you're buying someone else's sale. We're all in commerce all day long, exchanging money, exchanging ideas. Sometimes it has nothing to do with actual product for money. It has stuff to do with you have a better idea than I do. Spider. And
There's a spider on my chair. I just want to point
large spider.
Oh my god, that is a whopper.
There we go.
Come here, little guy.
That's not cool. But
he was fine.
But the whole idea, the reason I'm bringing that up and money and all that fun
I
stuff.
love that you bring that stuff in. That you bring the business and money side to it. I don't know that much about business. I think I learn a lot from you here.
Well, and it relates so much to what we do. So I'm reading a book right now called To Sell is Human.
He's reading To Sell is Human. I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita. Just to show the separation here.
Exactly.
But we totally come together on these kinds of points.
Exactly. And I've studied a lot of spirituality and philosophy and all that stuff. And that's helped me so much in business.
And I read Think and Grow Rich.
Exactly. And, well, no, and so we both have opposite side, or we both have a chunk of each side, you know?
Right.
So we have insight on the other side, which is awesome. And how this relates is all day long we're selling each other on stuff. 90% of the time, if you're speaking to another person, you're saying, hey, you want to go grab a coffee? And he's like, no, I'm not really feeling like it. And you're like, hey, the coffee's going to be an upper. It's going to help you feel a little better. You're going to get a little spark energy and you're going to feel like doing something else. And they go, okay, did you just sell them on an idea? Yes, you did. You motivated them. You added value to their life. You got them pumped up and excited. Now they did something. You moved a person.
Okay, I could see that as a form of selling.
It's all selling, yeah.
I mean, even just to convince someone to come have a good time with you. Like, if they're not immediately on board, I guess it's kind of enticing just to say, hey, want to come walk on a slack line? Yeah, I want to go walk on a slack line. All right, yep, you sold me. That's actually a common expression, so that totally makes sense.
Well, you have, and it's funny too, because actually, once I say this, it's gonna be hard to forget. But when you visualize something in your head, like if I visualize taking you to coffee, but you don't feel like it, I already have the visualization. I have the package. Let's call it a product on the shelf. I have the product on the shelf in my head.
Okay.
And now I say to you, hey, Kory, let's go grab a coffee, and you say no. You're saying, no, I don't want your product. No, I don't want your visualization. No, I don't want your vision right now. That's what you're saying. We're not understanding we're saying these things, but in effect, that's what we're saying. And not in a harmful way. You're just saying, no, I don't feel like it. And I say, no, Kory, trust, dude, blah, 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 blah. And I convince you to go. I just sold you my vision. I sold you a product of my imagination. So it's sales all day long, 24/7. If you're a person who's not as confident, self-aware, or excited about life, then you're probably being sold more often than you're selling. And to sell someone on an idea is not to push things on them. It's not to be aggressive and say, give me your lunch money, kid, because you have this visualization of grabbing his lunch money and spending the lunch money down the street of the liquor store. It's going, hey man, I think this is going to help you. Let's go. You have a strong visualization to help somebody. If you apply this selling idea, it always helping people, not to ever harm anybody, your life is going to improve drastically.
That's funny that this is kind of what we started this podcast talking about giving versus receiving, or giving versus taking, considering what you have to offer the world.
Right.
This is much more businessy terms than I would have ever put it in, but it's the same message. And it's how those kinds of books like Think and Grow Rich are written. It's somewhat a spirituality book, but marketed at a different crowd. And I like that we can hit both. That we can hit both things here.
I think it's powerful that we should too, because people are always... What's in your pocket right now? If you had to name a couple things.
I have a stone that says play on it.
Okay.
I have my car keys. I have a wallet and a cell phone.
What's in your wallet?
I have 2 credit cards, a debit card, my library card, driver's license.
What's the most
That's about
valuable?
it.
What's the most valuable thing in there to you? If you lost the wallet, but you could have one thing out of it.
My social security card.
Okay.
Because my goodness, that's a pain to replace. Oh, that would really be time consuming to have to go replace that.
Right.
Credit cards, I make one phone call, it's shut off.
Okay, let's say, because that's making the visualization harder. Let's say there's $200 in there, And then
Okay, I have $200 in my wallet, actually.
Okay.
I forgot to mention.
that would probably be the thing. You'd be like, darn it. I just wish I had that. Not like you'd be upset over it.
Well, yeah, no, I'd like, it physically is missing. It
Right.
doesn't have to be a psychological problem. I understand that.
And so we probably make transactions a lot of the time of day, right? And if we don't understand that we're always selling or being sold, then we're probably being sold a lot. We might be the person where we're in the gas station and we go buy a cookie, or we're somewhere else and
That's
we go buy
literally
this.
being sold something.
Yeah, literally. No, like literally we're being sold something all the time. So that's why this seller be sold thing is so powerful, because you have to understand, if you're in the liquor store and you're sitting there just looking at the packaging is selling you. Because you're looking at it and you go, oh, cookie sounds good. And your visualization of the cookie, because of the packaging, because of your know-how of taste of cookies, you go,
That's
I
funny.
want the cookie.
That particular cookie's packaging might not even be selling you. It's what you have in your mind already about what you know about cookies. And,
Right.
That cookie, maybe it just looks like Grandma's Christmas cookies.
There you go.
Had the chocolate chips and, that actually sounds really good to me right now. It's warm and gooey and kind of it doesn't break apart, but you split it in half and it's very soft is the idea.
And
then you see that package and you're like,
that one.
you don't even consciously think these things, but it's in your mind, and your mind pictures that, it imagines the taste, your mouth waters just slightly, and you just got sold your own idea back to you based on this packaging.
And we talked about in the last episode, money is a tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to be used by us, not meant to use us, like our whole lives to make money and not really be happy and do the things we want to do, which is what money buys, which is kind of ironic. But this idea is a tool. That's why I bring it up in this podcast, is because it is a tool for us to realize in the process of us being sold, if we know it and we know it's a tool to stop that process and say, is this a valuable addition to my life and should I allow this sale to take place?
Right.
Then you go forward with it.
That'd be like another interesting aspect of awareness. Like
It is, yeah.
That's a totally interesting way to look at it.
Do you buy the opinions of your parents? Because if they don't have the results you want in life, do you buy into that? That's why we have that expression too. Do you buy into that?
Well, it could also be, well, yeah, buy into that, but not just because they don't have the experience that you want, but because you actually have an interest in seeking the truth and seeing reality.
Right.
You know, and you say the things that your parents believe in. You don't ever have to believe in reality or in facts, which is why we call them beliefs. And if we could wrap around here to the spirituality section again, I say it like we're in a library. Back over to the spirituality section. Now, there was one other point I wanted to make. It's about all these things that we do, these beliefs that we hold for our desire for comfort and security. And by that I mean, we make things up and we tell ourselves these things that we believe completely just because we don't want to face our feelings, which we were talking about earlier. We want to run away from them and we don't want to experience them completely. We want to deaden ourselves and deaden them and repress them. So, imagine this. You don't have to imagine if it's too painful, I understand. But let's say your best friend dies. And, oh my god, you're upset at first and you loved the feeling of being around him. You miss that feeling, and you can no longer get the feeling of that best friend being around you. You crave it, and you're upset that it's gone. If that is your current condition. But rather than being there with those sad feelings and experiencing it for a short amount of time, or, a little while, and then it might become subdued, or, it'll lessen, life will go on. We tell ourselves things to make that happen sooner. We tell ourselves things to soothe these negative feelings. We tell ourselves things like, he's gone on to a better place now. Other people around us tell us, it's okay, he's in heaven now. And it's like, oh, okay, well I firmly believe that. I choose to firmly believe that because it makes me feel better about my dead friend. Like, oh, well it's fine that happened now, and now I don't have to feel anything because I have a belief in something I've never seen, something that I'm just being told by all these people. Same with reincarnation, or depending on where you are in your spiritual path, I'm sure you've heard, maybe if you're far enough along in meditation, you've felt the unity of life. That's one thing that we hear through these spiritual teachings, and people like to think they have a feel for it, but they've heard it enough that they think, okay, it's one mind consciousness, a whole unity of life, and when they die, there's no self there to even die, and we say these things like regurgitating information as if, so we don't have to feel anything. And when we do that, we get no complete experience of life.
No, we snuff out our emotions.
It's a terrible thing. Like, not to say that you should go around being angry and upset at every little twist and turn, and anything that could set you off should set you off. But don't dampen your emotions when they are there. Don't seek comfort. Like, we might have talked about this before, but, you're feeling sad and lonely, so you call up a friend to soothe your feelings, to comfort you. Not because you want to talk to that friend, not because, it'd be interesting or cool or I like hanging out with this person, but because you want them to do something for you. You want them to ease your mind, ease your feelings. So that's my current thoughts on deadening yourself based on things you firmly believe. Embrace life, see reality, notice your beliefs, get rid of them. Unless you really need them there and really want that comfort. If you're completely satisfied with where you are in life, don't change a thing. But if you want the full, real experience, be aware. Not telling you how to do it, but be aware. And know your beliefs. Know these things that you hold that you can't see to be true.
Exactly, man. Well said. I love it.
You let me talk there for quite a while.
Okay. So what I want to talk about is what's in your toolbox. We as conscious human beings that are we're put here and we're here to create. That's my impression. We don't need to go into God or philosophy. I do believe there's a God, but I don't want to go into that I don't want to go into that right now. I want to talk about that stuff later. But I want to talk about what's in our toolbox. So like we talked about, money's a tool. Right? Other things are a tool, like knowing little things like sell or be sold, which is not my original idea. That's the beautiful part about it. Go read books, go listen to audiobooks. You're going to find this stuff by people who already lived it. If there's something you want to do in the world, go Google it. Someone's already done it. All you need to do is either imitate it, not like how we were talking about earlier, like you don't have confidence.
Not imitating it to get a certain feeling of being something you're not. But
not fake it till you make it necessarily.
Right.
But go down the road of self-education, find out what they did, and start there. You're going to have to learn the same process they learned, but look, you can do a lot of the same things they did.
Right, like if you're an actor and you look up to Tom Cruise, you can say, okay, now what did he do? What to make himself so big?
Right.
And you can follow in his same path if that's the way that you think you should go. Obviously, you can't imitate him. You can't be in the same movies he was in. You can't, just like if there's a businessman you look up to, you say, okay, what did this guy do? You can't create that same product. It won't work a second time. Someone's already made it. But you can see the steps they took.
And that's the beautiful part about it. So to add to our toolbox, here we go. It's finding and learning to understand and utilize the mindset of those individuals you look up to. That's another tool in your toolbox. When Kory talks about Tom Cruise, he's looking up to Tom Cruise and the things maybe he did, but also Tom Cruise wouldn't have done the things he did unless he had the mindset to do them. His body and the world and the things around him are just resources. The infinite intelligence inside of him and the drive and enthusiasm that comes from somewhere we're not too sure is what dictates what to do with the resources as tools, how to utilize them and set them up in a pattern to create a certain outcome, which is what he's gotten. And that's another tool in your toolbox, is learning to utilize the mindset of those people who already are where you want to be. That's another tool to throw in there. So for me, I look up to someone like Tony Robbins. Yes, some people call him a motivational speaker. Yeah, he can get you pumped up and motivated. But I would say he's more of a mentor to so many people who don't have a mentor or are lacking a mentor. And when I look at him, I'm not looking at the things he accomplished. That's great. That's fantastic. It's a different time. It's a different place. But what kind of mindset do you have to almost be at the billionaire level in terms of money? And money is usually a representation of and a measure of the type of person you are and how you give back to other people. Because if you're a person who acquired your wealth through stiffing other people, you will lose it or your life eventually and all your credibility.
And if you gain it that way, you're not going to enjoy life. Something that I'd like to get onto in another episode is this being completely honest. This way of doing things that you don't have to manipulate. You don't have to lie. You don't have to cheat. You don't have to hurt others to gain the things that you want. And also want because you'd completely enjoy.
Exactly.
And, alright, I think we're about a half hour in. I think this is a good place to stop, right?
Fantastic.
Alright, awesome. Thanks, guys. Love ya.
See you next week. See you next week. See you next week. See you next week.